What is going on, everyone? This morning I have a first that I am extremely excited about. This is my very first Keanison knife, the Alpha Pup. And man, this thing absolutely defines the idea of functional art. Look how beautiful this is. Handmade in Texas. My sister lives in Spring Branch, so gotta love when something's coming out of Texas. You got an overall length of 7 inches, blade length 3 inches. It comes with its own dog tag. Let's just go through that quickly because there's a lot of detail and I don't want to miss anything. Let me just focus this in here. There we go. Official certificate of authenticity. Liner lock Alpha Pup, Nicholas Intrepid XHP CORE blade with fat carbon Kaotic artwork, scales, and backspacer on G10 liners. Zirc clip, tie collars on Skiff bearings, number 82 from January of 23. I couldn't find anything about the weight on this specific knife. I'm assuming it's right around 3 ounces. I could be off on that. Well balanced. As far as the design goes with the overall aesthetic, I think this is absolutely genius. Not to make it such a dynamic look, but that green collar, the simplest part of this, to actually utilize a green collar. I don't know why, but it makes the knife. It really pops. You can tell they've put a ton of time and effort into designing this, essentially like a piece of art, a functional piece of art. But let's take a close-up look at the scales, because the pattern on here is beautiful. You got the fat carbon, all of that color infused. It just so happens I got this knife on the day of the first snowstorm. So with the backdrop of nothing but snow, these colors really pop. It looks absolutely gorgeous. The pattern in the blade is phenomenal. Everything about this aesthetic makes me want to keep this for life, and it's something that I won't get sick of easily. You know how, as much as you love knives, sometimes something gets stale. That isn't going to happen here. There's no chance of that. I mean, just look at this thing. It's absolutely beautiful. I've already done the testing. I think it goes without saying, a knife like this, don't get me wrong, they absolutely made it to be a very strong, well-constructed knife for its main purpose of cutting, but it's definitely not a hard use knife, but it did really well. It took me a second to get used to it, just like with any other knife, maybe a second or two longer. But feels really good in the hand. I didn't feel any hot spots or anything like that. And one other thing, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this on camera because of the angle, but sometimes it just closes on its own. Let's see if I can get that to work. No, the angle's not going to let me, but the action on this is very smooth. Spidey flick. You can use your thumb to deploy it. No issues there. I sometimes use my index finger. And the flipper tab is absolutely dialed in. Just a beautiful knife. But like I said, I've already tested it, so let's take a look at it in action, and I will be back in a second. We are back. Hopefully that showed that this is absolutely a sharp blade. It was snowing out. I didn't have any cardboard with me, so you can just tell from the sound. I mean, I'm barely putting pressure on this at all. And it cuts right through. Very clean edges. There is one thing that I didn't mention before. Let me just get rid of this cardboard so it's not distracting. There is one thing I didn't mention before that I wish they would have done a little differently. I am a sucker for a finger choil. I mean, I can still get, the ergonomics are great. I can get a full 4-finger grip here, no issues. Feels great in hand, very comfortable. But I love a finger choil. I am a sucker for a finger choil. But theirs is so narrow that I can't really utilize it without jeopardizing cutting myself on that back edge. I mean, I can adjust. It's not the end of the world. I can just put pressure on the back of the flipper tab here with my index and just choke up like this. Not an issue. I just wish it was a little bit bigger. But the ergonomics are great. Overall, this knife is fantastic. It is a hefty price tag. But again, look at all of this art. All of the design. Think about all the hours they took to design this knife. And it has come together beautifully. Just an outstanding, very attractive knife. But again, it's the Keanison Alpha Pup. I don't know if you guys, if any of you guys watching have one in your collection, but if you can afford it and you see one that catches your eye, I would go for it, man. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will be back with more reviews soon.